Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff, the final liftoff of Atlantis.
To reach for new heights and reveal the unknown so that what we do and learn will benefit all humankind. For generations, NASA has inspired the American public to reach for the stars. Spacecraft's development has led to advances in technology and medicine. However, with the current economic climate and a set of cutting-edge space startups, a new question arises. Do the benefits that NASA offers justify its cost, or is there a better, more effective way to explore space?
On July 29, 1959, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Wernher von Braun, and Richard Nixon established the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA.
Everything is go. The takeoff of the Atlas, blasted off by 360,000 pounds of thrust, carries the Mercury gracefully skyward.
Within 11 years, this organization was responsible for making the United States the clear winner of the space race, with the first successful moon landing on July 20th, 1969.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Over the years, NASA has worked on a variety of projects, including unmanned missions to Mars, the Space Shuttle program, and participation in the International Space Station. As American society has evolved, though, citizens and politicians have started to question whether we still need a federal organization for space exploration. Has our nation outgrown the desire to explore space?
You start with the question, do you really believe NASA in its current form is the most effective way of leveraging investment in space?
Proposed 2014 fiscal year budget for NASA is $17.7 billion. To put that number into perspective, we spend $16.3 billion annually on our Justice Department, $12.9 billion annually on our Treasury, and $16.3 billion on our Transportation Department.
A healthy economy and had more Bill Gateses and more Warren Buffetts, the money would be there. It should be privatized. And the people who work in the industry, if you had that, there would be jobs in aerospace. And I just think that we don't need a bigger, a newer program. When you think of the people, I mean, healthcare or something else deserves a lot more priority than going to the moon.
Privatizing NASA would put the now government organization in the hands of corporate businesses. NASA would no longer receive funding from the government. This means that the government and public would have no say in what occurs at NASA in terms of spending and research.
So you've somehow slashed the cost of building a rocket by 75%, depending on how you calculate it. How on earth have you done that? NASA has been doing this for years. How have you done this?
Well, we've made significant advances in the technology of the airframe, the engines, the electronics, and the launch operation. Since our primary competitors are national governments, the enforceability of patents is questionable.
Lindbergh flew to Paris for a $25,000 prize. If we had a handful of serious prizes, you'd see an extraordinary number of people out there trying to get to the moon first in order to have built that. And I'd like to have an American on the moon before the Chinese get there.
However, not everyone agrees that NASA's spending should be reduced.
The distribution of money that you're spending is warped in some way, that you are removing the only thing that gives people something to dream about tomorrow.
With reduced funding going towards manned missions, widespread interest in NASA has declined. The Apollo missions still define NASA despite occurring some 70 years ago.
After we stopped going to the moon, it all ended. We stopped dreaming. And so I worry that decisions that Congress makes doesn't factor in the consequences of those decisions on tomorrow. So that when I look up at the night sky, and I know that, yes, we are part of this universe, we are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us.
It's undeniable that since its foundation, NASA has become an integral part of our nation's identity globally. From the space race to the modern-day Curiosity rover, space exploration has captured the imagination of people across the nation.
We study the universe, we study dark matter, we study how galaxies form, and for that we need to use the most powerful telescopes there are in the world.
Many groups fear that if NASA were to be privatized, we would risk making scientific progress solely for profit, instead of the more noble goal of advancing human civilization.
Trying to send, say, telescopes into orbit or sending these not manned missions to Mars, what you're going to be developing the flights that can take human up and down, because there is a millionaire who is going to pay a lot of money to send somebody in space. So I would sincerely worry about privatization of NASA.
Space exploration is not a luxury, it's not an afterthought in America's quest for a brighter future. It is an essential part of that quest.
The amount of research that's done under the umbrella of NASA is immense, and I really think that this should continue at a level that is or even higher.
If NASA is successful in fostering the development of commercial space and entrepreneurial space to the extent that we're trying to do right now, there are some private enterprises who really believe that they can put humans on the moon, and so we have formal agreements with some of them to provide engineering expertise and other assistance, in a non-reimbursable basis.
As our nation continues to grow, NASA is an economic issue that we must address in the most tactful way possible, while still entertaining the public and scientific community's desire to explore the unknown.